Hey, Chris Grove back at you with another video. This time we are doing something a little different. Today I am starting kind of a new journey with my channel. I'm still doing film reviews, but I also am looking to do more life issue stuff and podcasting and that kind of thing, and eventually get into that more. But also keep the film reviews also coming and doing it on the same channel right now because, well, what the hell? Right now I only have 20 subscribers and I've been kind of hit and miss. I started this whole thing in 2022 and here we are today. So I want to start off today with something a little different. I'm been looking to start an encounter group, if you will, called Search. Now, Search was something that my stepdad started back in the day. He was a poet. He was actually a former Catholic priest. And my mom is actually a former Catholic nun. So I guess that's a match made in heaven or something. Anyway, yeah, there's a story there. But I just want to take some time to see how people would respond to this in this kind of divisive, very lonely time in our new quarter century of the 21st century. It's weird. It's like 2025. So we're a quarter into this, the 21st century. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see that. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. I mean, I remember when 2000 hit, and we were just barely doing cell phone technology, and now we're recording videos on YouTube. So yeah. Anyway, so my stepdad started this whole thing around 1982. It actually was a poem based on a foreword to a book of poetry he wrote in the early 70s. And he was a pretty successful poet because, he was published by Harper and Row and all that. And you could actually make a living back then being a poet. I don't know if you still can. I guess you can. I mean, they're still poets, right? So I don't know, but with AI and all that stuff, I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know how it's all done today, how it works, but in the 70s and 80s, he was able to make a pretty good living doing that, doing poetry. And he wrote a few novels too. He had a few novels published as well. So this is James Kavanaugh, my stepdad. Originally, he wrote this in the early 70s, and this was a revised copy. But the foreword to a book he published later called Search, which I've been spending the last hour at my mom's place looking for it on the shelf. I literally had it 6 months ago and can't find it. I know it's around there somewhere, so I will. But did find the poem, the intro poem. And the intro poem to Search goes something like this. And this is what his encounter groups that he started in the early 80s were all about. So I'm just going to read you the intro here for Search. I am one of the searchers. There I believe millions of us. We are not unhappy, but neither are we really content. We continue to explore life, hoping to uncover its ultimate secret. We continue to explore ourselves, hoping to understand. We like to walk along the beach. We are drawn by the ocean. Hell yeah. Taken by its power, its unceasing motion, its mystery and unspeakable beauty. We like forests and mountains, deserts and hidden rivers, and the lonely cities as well. Our sadness is as much a part of our lives as is our laughter. To share our sadness with one we love is perhaps as great a joy as we can know, unless it be to share our laughter. Totally can relate to that. I am all about sharing laughter and sadness. I think it brings a sense of greater intimacy, and I love it. I am all about that. We searchers are ambitious only for life itself, for everything beautiful it can provide. Most of all, we want to love and be loved. Very true. We want to live in a relationship that will not impede our wandering. Have a little issue with that one. Mr. Kavanaugh was not perfect. He was a searcher and a wanderer. He spent a lot of time as a heterosexual male in the Catholic Church. So when he broke free, he wanted to wander, kind of like the beagle I used to have named Gus. He wanted to wander. He would, dig under the fence and take off to the golf course. I'm talking about my dog and Jim metaphorically. He was definitely that guy. And, that kind of when it came to the ladies, even when he was involved in a relationship with my mother, was he mostly faithful? Sure. But he got spooked by being a husband figure and maybe a stepfather figure. And there were times he bailed because it was just too much for him. So, yeah. Most of all, we want to be loved. We want to live in a relationship that will not impede our wandering, nor prevent our search, nor lock us in prison walls. Again, it's called commitment, dude, So, a little issue with that, but I get where he's coming from, too, especially being locked up in the priesthood, pretty much at a young age. That will take us for what little we have to give. We do not want to prove ourselves to another or to compete for love. This is a book for wanderers, dreamers, and lovers, for lonely men and women who dare to ask of life everything good and beautiful. It is for those who are too gentle to live among wolves. James Kavanaugh, San Diego, 1969. So that's when he first published this. And I think there's some things that resonate today. I think that a lot of people are pretty lost today, and they need something in their lives that could benefit them. A connection, if you will, with other people. Talking, laughter, talking about sadness, grief, and then going back to laughing, hopefully. And I think that that's important. I think it's important to understand that we human beings really need each other. And in this day of social media and AI and arguing over politics online, why not start another encounter group? So I'm looking to start that encounter group. And why not call it Search? Fine, Keep the name. I'm thinking of starting it with Zoom meetings, maybe breaking off into local groups after that. But those are just some rough ideas I have. And if there's anyone out there that has some more substantial ideas and wants to share those, by all means, leave it in the comments section or hit me up. Yeah, I'm definitely down. I'm down to understand what other people think about that, and if we can get a little group going. I mean, it might just be me talking to myself, and I can do that until someone else wants to join in, and then maybe more people want to join in, and then we have a discussion going. But I want to create a safe space. Love that term. For people that just need to talk and need to get real with each other about broad topics. I love when people say, well, what is this? Some kind of encounter group? You bet it is. It's an encounter group. And I think it could really take off. Um, I don't really, I mean, everything's on the table. We can talk about politics if you want, but if we do talk about politics, I don't want to be one big circular argument where we just get stuck in our own little talking points and our own little wheel and we can't get out of it. I want to actually make some headway if we're talking about politics. And again, realizing that we're not in control of the situation. It's way bigger than we are, unless now there are things we can do to change that. I believe in persevering and lobbying. Lobbying. I don't even know if that's really the right term. I kind of maybe but let's omit lobbying for now. How about trying to understand where the other person is coming from? Today I did a little Zoom mass thing where a gentleman who's actually a former priest has been really taking courses on active listening, and he was teaching us what it's like to really actively listen, where you put your stuff aside, your point of view aside, and you're like, tell me about you. What is your deal? In a nice way. What is your deal? What is your energy? Talk to me. And when people talk and you really are listening to them, they feel seen and heard. They're more apt to be like, well, what's your point of view? So that's how you know you're really listening and conversing. So whatever happens in this group or multiple groups, I want everyone to feel seen and heard. I think that's really important. And I want people to understand that really the bottom line is respecting each other, trying to understand where the other person is coming from, even if you don't agree with them or have issues with their point of view. So that's what I'm looking to do. What's prompted all this? It's been a month of change for me. I've been stuck for 5 years. I realize it's been 5 years since Tammy and I broke up, and I miss her a lot, and I'll always love her. But I'm like, I gotta move on. I got to move on. And this is me moving on. I'm still open to whatever happens, I mean, right now, she ain't talking. And there's a lot of people that don't want to talk. I kind of thought, whether we're together or not, 5 years later, we'd at least be talking. Apparently, that's not a reality. And I've talked a little bit before about my issues and my mistakes in that relationship, so I'm not going to bore you with those details again. But, it would be nice if people could not hold grudges. I'm not a grudge holder. I am a guy that I might get pissed off and call you every name in the book for 20 minutes. But then 20 more minutes later, I'm like oh yeah, I kind of overreacted there. We're good, right? Like, no, we're not good. You called me every name in the book. And then some. And you screamed in my face. Like, sorry. So I'm trying to get better at that too, and make some, changes in my life too. I've had some issues with anger, with alcohol, with anger and alcohol, both separately and together. There were times I could be a really nasty under the influence. And I've improved, I've gotten better, but there sometimes recently when I still am like, I kind of partook a little too much the other night, and I kind of need to, okay, time to kind of reel it back in again. Um, there's a lot of things with AA that I think are good for a lot of people. I just don't, I think it's more than just the focus of not drinking, though. It's really about changing your life, because the things that cause you to drink more are usually the stressors, the anxiety, the depression, the things that are causing that make you want to feel good and live. When you're living in the moment and you're partaking, you're partying, and you partake a little bit more than you should, I believe it's usually because, well, you kind of want to live in that happy place for a while, even if tomorrow is going to be a severe hangover. So that's my belief. I'm sure there's some people out there that are like, "Oh, dude, you're missing the point. It's just about alcohol, and you just got to abstain." And blah 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 blah. I'm like, hey, you got a point. That's you. I get it. And for some people, that works for them, and that's great. For me, I'd like to be able to partake socially, as we all do, right? But not go gonzo on it. And sometimes I do, especially when I'm experiencing severe anxiety and depression and just want to feel good for a minute. It's easy to do. However, since I've been more proactive lately in this past month at actually making some changes in my life, I'm realizing that the need to do that is subsided. The need to overindulge has subsided. Why? Because I'm being proactive. And that's my fuel, that's my energy, and that's the thing that is driving my heart and my soul. And I don't tend to need that. So, yeah, it feels good. It feels really good. So, anyway, these are some changes I'm trying to make. I bought a new car. I sold my 2008 Suzuki SX4 crossover that I bought new in 2008, and just got a new 2026 Honda HR-V EXL with all the bells and whistles and backup cam and everything else, and it was freaking me out. I even took a week and a half off work over it. I almost had to go out on FMLA over buying a new freaking car, because it caused me that much anxiety on all levels, because I'm planning on paying it off quickly, and it's a new car, but I got a pretty good deal on it. But the main thing was it's bigger, it's got a bigger hood, and parking, and my depth perception issues with my vision, and I have some vision issues, so I had a retinal detachment when I was 22, and I got a scratched macula on my left eye from that surgery. And I got nystagmus in both eyes, and now I have some cataracts. And I'm seeing like the best doctor in town, so he's good, but his office is chaotic, and they take a while to get back to you on things. But yeah, I'm seeing the best in town. So, and I live in Reno, Nevada, by the way. So if anyone out there's from Reno can recommend a great eye doctor, awesome. But my vision, has vision issues. It probably held me back a little bit. I don't like to drive at night as much, and especially places that I don't really know. I'll do it in my own neck of the woods, kind of thing. But going to a party across town if I don't really know. I mean, Siri navigate to whatever, and that's cool. But there's just it's a little different, and I hope I can get through that part of it a little bit better. And I think with being proactive about my vision, maybe it can happen. But right now, I'm just trying to put one foot in front of the other and keep going, just move forward. And while I'm realizing I've made some mistakes, I've also done a lot of good things for people, and I have a lot to offer. And it's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling. And this isn't about me. The reason why I'm bringing all this up is to not really talk about my stuff per se. What I realize is that everything I'm going through, other people are going through. Whether it's issues with drinking, whether it's vision issues, whatever it is. So it's not for me to get up here and pontificate about my issues. It's here to talk about things that I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one going through. So, yeah. So that's what Search is about. It's about talking about the issues that we all are going through and helping each other, guiding each other, maybe giving each other a little peace of mind, and really actively listening to each other and making everyone feel seen and heard. So, again, I'd like to start off with some Zoom meetings, but I think meeting live is important, especially if you're unloading some heavy stuff, Sometimes hugs are nice. They're better than virtual hugs. So that's something to definitely consider. But I know that Zoom is convenient for people and it's easy, and especially if you don't have people living in the same city and whatnot, it's might be a good way to start. So that's what I'm planning on doing. And I don't know when the first session will be. I'd like to see how many comments I get on this thing, and maybe just like one or two or however, but maybe it'll grow. I don't know. So I'd put it out there, and hey, who wants to have a conversation about everything and anything, really? Everything's on the table. So remember, life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. So live it. And to be continued, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, and happy holidays.